Bada boom, bada bang, bada bop. We are back today with the highly anticipated New Balance Rebel V5, and I can hear the wind picking up just as I'm starting this intro. Can you hear that? Probably gonna have to cut that out. We got the Rebel V5, one of the most requested shoes, probably the most requested shoe this year. I'm sure everyone's gonna be asking about the Asics shoes because I see Asics is sending them out to everybody, but we buy all the shoes ourselves here. So when that one is available to test, or all three of those are available to test, I will be spending the $250 plus $250 is $500 plus $300. I will be spending the $800 plus taxes and shipping to buy all three of those when they are available, likely in July. Now, if you are looking for a new shoe and you don't want to pay $800 plus taxes and shipping, make sure you're on the Supwell app. And guess what? There's no taxes, and shipping is usually folded into the price of the shoe because it's a buy, sell, and trade marketplace. It's the best buy, sell, and trade marketplace out there. I built it through blood, sweat, and mileage, and it's hobby joggers giving other hobby joggers deals. Here's how it works. Somebody might have a shoe, it's sitting in the box in their closet, they're not using it, so they list it under MSRP to get it out of their house to free up more room in their shelf and to free up more room in the emotional bank of how much stress their partner can take, because with each additional shoe that comes in, the stress quotient goes up. So the stress quotient goes down when you sell on the Supwell app, and you also make another hobby jogger happy. So if you're looking to buy a great shoe on a deal or get rid of some shoes that are in great shape, come join us on the Supwell app. We also do have the merch dropping this Friday. This hat will be part of it. This shirt will be part of it. The Carbon County shirt that you've seen, the mileage shirt, the hobby jogger shirt, all the shorts, the camo shorts, and the mileage pinstripe shorts will be part of it. And all app members will be getting 10% off. So another perk for becoming a member of the Supwell app. So get in with us and enjoy today's video. Bang! You couldn't see that because I was out of the frame, but I legit threw this from about 2 yards away and it landed perfectly. Absolutely perfectly. Rebel V5, man. Oh my goodness. This has been, I don't even know how to describe it. It's just Rebel V5. Everyone's requesting it. People are threatening to riot. I had this, so the thing is, I buy all the shoes now with my own money. This is something we started doing this year. I was already trending in that direction, but I made the hard decision a few months ago to only buy the shoes with the Supwell cash. We're not accepting any free product from the brands. We don't do free trips. We don't do any of those shenanigans. But because of that, that means I don't get the shoes as early as the reviewers who do get them from the brands, because guess what? That's the whole thing with embargoes. They get the shoe as soon as they get the shoe before the embargo period is up, and it's usually a few weeks before the shoe releases, or in some cases a few months before the shoe releases. So I was only able to get this when it officially dropped, which was last week. Showed up Saturday, but my legs were completely brutalized, and I knew that the long run was going to be tough. So I said, you know what? I'm not going to do a 20-mile long run out of the box in the Rebel. I think a few years ago, last year, I would have done that, just forcing it. But I really want to give these shoes the best shot at me enjoying them and having a successful run. It's like with the Streak Fly, right? I'm not going to do a 10-mile easy run or 10-mile recovery run in the Streak Fly. No run is easy, by the way, but I'm not going to do some relaxed miles. Same thing with the Rebel. I'm not going to just put it through a 20-miler when my legs are beat up. Then yesterday I was still feeling like I didn't know how it was going to go, so I ran the Neo Vista 2. Awesome shoe, great for high mileage. So today I'm partially recovered. We'll see. Going to get a shorter aerobic run in to test this thing out. This is New Balance's latest and greatest speed daily trainer. They're positioning this as speed wrapped in comfort. So this is the last version of the shoe, Rebel V4, and the Rebel has always been their speedier everyday option. It's not a high-tech shoe. The Rebel V3, let me go grab it, but one of my favorite shoes of the 2020s and one of my favorite shoes of all time. I only started running in the 2020s. Much lower, much more flexible, very simple shoe. Hold on, let me get it. It took me a second to find it. This was deep in the archives over here. This is not even in my office. It was in the hallway closet. But awesome shoe right here. Flexible, comfortable. This foam feel just so nice. I love this version of Fuel Cell. New Balance switched off of it. So this was a TPU EVA blend. And this dropped in, was it 2022 or 2023? I can't remember, but dropped a few years ago before TPU had the resurgence that we're seeing in late 2024, 2025, specifically with Mizuno, but a few other brands are doing it as well. So TPU EVA blend, you can see there's this shiny sheen to it. It's almost a matte shine. It's interesting versus this EVA Piba blend in the Rebel V4 really was not it. It is a bland foam, not that much bounce and pop. What you did get out of the Rebel V4 was lightweight, super lightweight, man. You still had a decently connected feel, and the geometry was nice. It also had a slightly odd fit for some people. I had a second pair of this too, the Action Bronson pair, and the fit on that one was terrible. People found the foam to go flat, so it was a popular shoe. There's some shoes like this with the Pegasus. The Rebel now is in that category, where the Bandai, people are going to buy them no matter if they're good or not. So this was a big mover. Saucony Endorphin Speed is another one of those shoes, but it didn't reach the fever pitch and the excitement that other shoes in this category, namely the Asics Novablast 4, have been able to do. So Novablast Novablast 5 has really taken the world by storm as that fun, fast, everyday shoe. Heavier than this, but what Asics did in the 5 is they moved it in this direction. Perfect sweet spot of offering the comfort and the padding on the upper and everything, but having the weight be slightly heavier because you get the cushion. So they thread the needle really well between speed and comfort. That's what New Balance is attempting to do in the V5. They want this to be a Novablast competitor. We'll just have to see, because and this foam in the older versions was so good. The new Novablast foam actually really reminds me of this. This is the same foam. I brought this shoe out, by the way, the old SC Trainer V2. This was the same foam in here. This old Fuel Cell, such a great training foam, and they switched off of it for this Piba blend, which they only did because Piba was the hot thing, had its moment in 2023, 2022, and now its time has passed. So we'll see how this foam does. That's going to be the biggest question mark. Yes, they've added more stack. Yes, it's a revised design, but it's going to be all about the Piba Fuel Cell blend. Did they dial it in? Did they get it correct? It's really hard to do Piba correct in a training shoe. Saucony tried it with the Triumph. That was a fail. Topo tried it with the Spectre too. That one was fine. It's just firm. The thing is, to get non-plated Piba, you have to firm it up, which means mixing it with an EVA, and a lot of the time that just dulls the ride of the shoe. So we'll see what they're able to do in here. I did get this off Running Warehouse, of course, and I got it in the CCP colorway. I think this is the official Chinese Communist Party colorway. Bada boom, bada bang. Ooh, man, this puppy is bright. That is crazy. Yeah, they're calling this Urgent Red. Something about it just reminds me of propaganda. You know how New Balance has the Made in USA series? This looks like the Made in USSR series right here. And the thing is, New Balance is all about the propaganda too. They actually tried to get my Instagram account deleted because they didn't like that I posted a leak of their shoe, and they claimed that I was trying to sell products. So I guess I don't know what that means for my relationship with them, if I'm biased against them now, but I guess you should just know New Balance did try to get the Sup While Running Instagram account deleted, but guess what? It didn't work. We're still up there doing numbers. So this is the Rebel V5. Looks very similar, some of the design elements, to the V4. I thought this was going to look a lot different. It really does have the same spirit as the V4, especially from the top. So one thing I'm noticing, which I didn't see online, is they kept the same V. Look at that. Is that for V4, V5 right here? Bang, same V. Let's see. Upper, slightly more padding on the tongue. Let's get the light dialed in. Boom. Yeah, and this is way brighter. This is almost a pink in person. It looks really deep, dark red online. It looks like that China red. It's not. I would say their box is more of the China red. There's more pinks and oranges in this here. It's almost in between. if you know the old New Balance orange here from the SC Trainer V2, this Urgent Red is right in between. It's like a mix of the orangey salmon pink and then the China red. It almost reminds me of the Supwall red, where some of our merches head in that direction this summer. I should pull out the shorts that we have that are this color. Very similar. But yeah, more padding, more comfort. Let's see. I know a lot of people had issues with the upper of the V4 as well, with this cutting up ankles, being too thin. That is not the case, shouldn't be the case with the V5. Again, speed wrapped in comfort. You get way more padding around the back. Get just a different design altogether. You get this little puff pillow back here. Let's see, width, pretty similar, and foam feel, we'll see. Oh gosh. Oh man. Dude, I don't know, bro. This feels... this legit feels like a Nerf ball. This foam. Yeah, I don't know. Speed wrapped in comfort. We'll see. This does not feel like a super fast foam. I'm pushing this in. Gosh. Yeah, I'm not getting any bounce back. That's the one question mark for me. It's just tough to make a PIBA EVA blend work. Doesn't feel all that. It honestly feels less bouncy. It feels like the impact absorption and the comfort is going to be better. Just doesn't seem like a very fast shoe. Also, I can tell, holding it in my hand, they increase the weight, but of course, if you're adding more comfort, that means more padding on the tongue. That means more padding around the back. That means more stack, likely wider in some places. It does look like they've widened out the midfoot as well here. Also, the rubber coverage is similar, but doing all those things means you're going to have a heavier shoe. So speed wrapped in comfort is the brief here. I am not so sure about the speed part. Looks are good. Not my favorite colorway. We'll just have to see how it does when we get it out there for some miles. But let's throw it through the lab, get the specs. Oh gosh, I don't know what that is, but this I've left the scale outside now for some days, and can you see that? It's just wet right there. That's absolutely disgusting. Like Beetlejuice or something. Ugh. All right, let's see. So let's get the lineage here. Rebel V3. By the way, this is a size 11, not a 10.5, because I remember I got this on some crazy deal, and all they had was 11. It did fit a little long, but I was able to work with it. That's the thing. Sometimes if you're a sicko, you just get the shoe on a deal, even if it doesn't fit. So this one comes in at 235 grams. Gosh dang, that's light. That's still pretty light for a 2022 or 2023 shoe. But you got to remember the stack isn't as high, right? And then the V4 coming through with the lineage. They cut weight. That's good. We like to see that. The weight goes down, the stack goes up, but the foam also got worse, and the shoe just in general got worse. And that's the thing. This upper was better too in the V3. The V4 was just, I don't know, it was good. It was good for a while, but it didn't stand the test of time as well. One of the worst aging shoes on the market. And then V5, let's see. Oh gosh, this feels heavier. This is probably up at 250. Almost 243. So these are both 10.5s, by the way. We go up 20 grams. That is roughly 10% weight increase. And again, I know people are going to freak out, but you have to think about what they're trying to do with the shoe. They're addressing the complaints of the upper not feeling as good. They're trying to make it a more comfortable shoe. My one question with that entire strategy, though, is New Balance does not have a fast shoe in their lineup anymore. In their training lineup. The Rebel, this is not a shoe I'm personally going to be doing kilometer repeats in or even tempo runs in this. And then if you look at the SC Trainer V3, that's the long run shoe. That thing for me is not, there's no way I'm ripping 400 at 5K pace in that. That thing is a clunky shoe. It's comfortable, but clunky. So their entire lineup is comfortable. Even Hoka has been able to do a good job at blending comfort and speed. I'm skeptical of that. Maybe I'll be eating my words at the end of that, but I don't know. Maybe should they introduce another shoe, a $120 track day shoe? Do they make the Pacer more of a shoe that people will drop the price to 180, but brands aren't dropping the prices. So I don't really know. They don't really have a workout shoe right now. Maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe they're realizing most people just want a shoe like the Rebel. And I think that's true, right? If you look at the success of the Novablast, we can throw this guy on the scale. This is the most popular type of shoe right now, these fun, everyday shoes that offer some comfort and some speed. So maybe that's the formula that's going to work for them. But I just don't know if it's a shoe that I'm going to personally be pulling for a lot with my style of training. But my style of training is unique. Not everyone's training for marathons. Not everyone is doing crazy speed workouts. A lot of people are just getting out there and having a good time. So maybe we'll evaluate the shoe just from that lens. But this is the Novablast 5, 272 grams. The other shoe I wanted to put up here against the Rebel, everyone's going to be curious about this one too. Evo SL, 254 grams. The other weight, or the other shoe of this, the right shoe, the QA was terrible. I actually think it was 230s something. So one of the Evos is heavier, one is lower. So we could say it's tied. It's just about, the Rebel is just about as heavy as the Evo. Let's see, just for good measure, let's throw the old SC Trainer V2 on. Boom, 291 grams. That's good. Under 300 grams for a nice long distance shoe. The other issue with the SC Trainer V2 though, even though the foam was so good, is a lot of people complain that it didn't last either. So that's an issue New Balance has had with the durability on some of these shoes. I do have to say the 1080 V13, that's a top 3 shoe, all-timer for me. I got 300 miles on it running. I was wearing it this morning. We were playing some basketball and lacrosse. Yeah, I did 1 hour of basketball and lax with Mason, and then I came out here. So this is like my second workout of the day. But that shoe has lasted a long time, so it's just a mixed bag with these things sometimes. Oh, oops, QA check. 247.3. Now I'm forgetting where this other one was. I think that's pretty close though. 243. 4 gram difference. Not great. Not horrible. That's a pass. All right, man. I'm excited for this one because again, we get to see the lineage. We get to see how this series has evolved. And this is the second shoe that I've now tested 3 versions of. That was a horrible sentence. You're not supposed to end sentences with prepositions. Miss Sendas would be severely disappointed in me. But the Nimbus, I did 25, 26, 27. And with this one, I've now done 3, 4, and 5. So would you look at that? So we got the V3 in here. This does have 250, between 2 and 250 miles on. Oh gosh, our tool is on the wrong stack. 27 millimeters, bro. That is low. But with this fuel cell foam, it punches above its weight. I remember I jogged up and down the street in this a few months ago. Wasn't like I did a workout or anything, but it still felt decent. It didn't feel outdated. It didn't feel too low. It didn't feel barefoot mafia. Felt like I had enough stack in it. So this was really a truly incredible version of that fuel cell foam. So 27 millimeters in the V3. V2 was also a legendary shoe, but that was before my time. Boom, 29 in the V4. Now let's see where the V5 comes in. My guess is this is above 35, fresh out of the box. And by the way, that V4, that has about 140 miles, probably, yeah, between 100 and 150. All right, V5, boom. I was spot on, 35.9. So we're going up a few millimeters. Let's check the other side. And that's honestly not too different from the Novablast, because the Novablast, it compresses a lot. So that's going to be something to monitor. If I do end up liking the shoe, or at least tolerating it, I know I'll have to run it more than once because everyone's interested in this thing. So if it's tolerable, we'll get some good runs in it and get it up to at least 50 miles and see how the foam evolves. Look at that, man, 35.84 on the right side. So really good QA. Let's take this. Oh, no. One thing I wanted to check was, this is the entire purpose of me bringing out the SC Trainer V2. I'm really curious to see how tall this is up at 100 miles and see, is the Rebel now taller? That would be fun. It doesn't seem so, but let's see. Yeah, 38. Okay, I was going to say, is the new Rebel taller than the old long-run shoe? No. This is still up at 38, which is competitive. That's similar to the Evo SL. But let's take this down. I want to get some other measurements to see how this model has evolved over time. So first we can start off with the heel width of the V3. And one of the trends we've seen in the market is a move toward more stability, and stability and comfort typically go hand in hand. So 77 millimeters in the V3, wide in the back. The new one, yeah, more than 10% increase there, almost up at 90. That's 89 millimeters wide. Same thing, and also this is a half size smaller, but same thing with the midfoot. I can already just see 78 millimeters, around up to 79 in the midfoot of the V3. In the V5, you're up at 85. Let's see how that compares to the V4. Oh, fairly similar. 85 in the midfoot. And wow, even wider in the back of the V4. So they narrowed out the heel, probably to shave some weight. It seems like, let's see. I was going to say it seems like it's going to be more stable. There might be there's a more aggressive rocker on the V4 here. V5 is just giving me more daily trainer vibes. But let's get it widest point at the forefoot here, 114 millimeters. Widest point at the forefoot of the V5 or V4, the previous, very similar. Okay, so the midfoot and the forefoot are similar in the V4 and V5. It's just the back. They've gone up in stack height, so they've shaved down the sides so that they don't go up a ton in weight. And you can see from the tongue here, this is a silly test I like doing sometimes, the tongue millimeter thickness, not even a millimeter thick on the last version. And then on the new version, 2.5 millimeters thick. Look at that. Should we get some upper padding? 13 millimeters of upper padding in the back of the new one. 5 in the old one. So there you go. More comfortable, more padding, more stack, but also narrower. It's really just going to be about this foam feel, man. Can they make this version of Fuel Cell work? That is the gigantic question mark. Is if you take any random grouping of data points, most things are going to be in the middle. Not everything is going to be great and amazing or terrible and trash. Most things are solid if you want to look at it in a positive light, or mid if you want to look at it in a cynical negative light. And I would say the Rebel V4, especially compared to the later releases last year, man, there were some really solid shoes that came out. The Novablast, the Neo Zen, Mag Max, different category of course, but shoes that people are using for the everyday miles. There were some fantastic releases. Glycerin Max, and with the shift towards Max Cushion, that left a shoe like this for a lot of enthusiasts in the okay land, in the land of solid to mid, in pick your word, whichever one you want to use. And most shoes are going to be there, and a few are going to be great. So my expectations for this thing are that it's going to be solid. All right, lacing it up here. Wow, way more room. This is a very roomy fit from the midfoot to the front. That's crazy. Yeah, I have a ton of space up here. Tongue is comfortable. Feels really nice putting it on. This almost feels like a 1080 or a Max Cushion shoe. Yeah, great fit and feel. The upper also seems super breathable. Also, by the way, I just did that without saying what I was doing. I put the Rebel V4 on my left foot so we could get a side to side, because I know people are going to be interested in this. So right off the bat here, I'll do the walk test in a second, but the V5, the new one, feels way taller. It just feels more like a daily trainer, especially in the forefoot. I get a ton of cushion. It does feel like there's a more aggressive toe spring. I don't know if you can see this from the side, but on the new one, my toe is angled up more. So while the entire platform is less rockered, it's flatter on the bottom. The toe off in the front is more curved. That's the opposite of the older one. The whole thing is curved. I can feel it on the back too, but the front isn't as aggressive. Yeah, upper comfort, way better on the new one. The fit and feel, man, so good. All right, let's do the walk test. This is a really weird random thing, but the heel feels so squared off. It just feels like a square back here, but it is sturdy. And I've got to say, this might be the most comfortable speed-oriented shoe that I've put on my foot. This is a really comfortable platform, and it's the absence of anything bothersome that I talk about so much. There's nothing weird. There's no rubbing. Great width up here. Good breathability, just enough room. The midfoot is secure. The back has the padding, and this foam feel is really nice. So I don't know if it's going to be that much different, the new compound, but just having more of it here, it does offer a lot of comfort, and it feels like they've nudged it in just the right direction, especially being more of a foil to the Evo. The one downside of the Evo to me was that it was just not that comfortable. The step in here is amazing. So let's get the other one on foot. Yeah, really, I'm impressed with this so far. No flaws that I've found yet. This feels like a really good update, at least for the walking test. And I think if you're going to get this to walk in or as a casual shoe, you will be happy. But plan for the run. I'm going to get 8 miles with some strides. That is on the shorter end for me. I typically get 10 to 12, but I really want to recover. I did 2 back-to-back high mileage days, so 20-mile long run on Sunday, and then another 20-mile double yesterday, so 12 in the morning, 8 in the afternoon. So today, hopefully my legs will be not as smashed and trashed as they were yesterday, so I could put some sort of pace in this thing, and then I will close it out with some strides to see how these do at those faster efforts. All right, let's do this thing. Would you look at that? Yeah, this is interesting. Definitely feels softer than the last version. That one took a lot of break-in. And I remember when I did the first run review, I was saying it felt firm. This one does not feel firm. Softer and maybe bouncier. Very lightweight. Good stability. Feels like it's compressing a lot though. It's not that it's super low stack, but early overreaction here. I'm feeling like this one might have the same issue as the last one with the thinning out, because it just doesn't feel that robust. And definitely not a long run shoe. I'm glad I didn't take this out for the 20 miler. Yeah, solid so far. That's my early overreaction. This is extremely solid. Yeah, one thing I'm noticing so far with this foam, it's mildly concerning. It's softer than it is bouncier. It's compressing a ton, but I'm just not getting as much response as I would expect. It's not bad. But it's just I'm doing more work to turn them over than I would have anticipated. Yeah, this foam is just okay. Comfort, yes. Soft, yes. But not that much bounce. And not that much support in the forefoot. It's really thin. thin feeling. I was running the Neo Vista 2 yesterday, which is all the way on the other end of the spectrum. That thing is 50 plus millimeters in the back. So take this with that in mind. But so far, this is feeling borderline like it's bottoming out. It's just compressing a ton. It's almost like they overcorrected and just made it too soft. And I was running into Boston the other day, the new one. Similar stack as this, just feels way more supportive. Mile 1, 742. So far, this is a solid 6. Not blowing me away, but certainly not bad. Put it in the same category as the Clifton. It's basically a Clifton with better marketing. Mile 2, 736 pace. Thought I was moving way faster than that. Bruh, these hills, man. Gosh dang. A mile 3, 756. Not really getting any pace today, but that's fine. I'll try to drop the hammer a little bit on these next miles, but so far, pretty much what I thought. This is fine. This is fine. Comfort's good. If potentially too soft, it's lightweight. Not a lot of bounce, but easy to turn over. This is really a case where I'm just reviewing this shoe because it's popular. I think if I were buying these shoes for my own training, I don't want to be buying this. And I'm finally starting to get something going with this thing. And right between 6 and 6:30 is where this is feeling best. Slightly slower than marathon pace. Nice steady effort. So not a true workout, but not hanging back either. Oh man, I gotta recover for my actual workout tomorrow. My legs are just trash this week. I love it. Living the fatigue, baby. Fatigue. Fatigue. It's like that Kanye West and Jay-Z song. Mileage in Paris. Got my joggers in Paris and they going gorillas. I do think this foam is an improvement from the last version. At its best, it's light, soft, and fun. It's one of those shoes that's it's hard to get a read on it because it can either be light, soft, and fun, or it can feel not supportive enough and too squishy and thin. But it's right on that line for me. It also is depending how I'm landing and what paces I'm putting down. I think this is one of those shoes where you're really gonna experience it differently depending on your size, your foot strike, cadence, even what type of workout you're running. Because even as I just pick up the pace slightly here and there, or experiment with landing a different way, the shoe completely changes character. Yeah, sweet spot for these, higher cadence, mid-foot strike. When I'm mashing the heel, it feels way too soft. I haven't really tried ripping up at the front yet, but we'll save that for strides at the end. But just from what type of shoe this is, I know it's not going to be the best at blasting 5K pace and faster. No plate, softer foam, etc. That was mile 7, 8:40 up the hill. Slow. I'm gonna throw in some strides here, see if I can get something going. I'm feeling worse than I expected, but the shoes are feeling better than I expected. So that's good. And most people care about the shoes, not me, so you'll be glad to hear that. All right, let's do the strides. I feel like Gabby Thomas, just ripping in my New Balances. Hit that second one at 4:58 pace. These can dance. They can dance for sure. It's easy to get up at the front and go. And it's not too soft when I'm getting out at the forefoot. I just did my last strides right there. Just 4 by 10 seconds today. Feeling slow. But I hit those nicely. The last 3 were all below 5-minute pace. So this is a solid shoe for that, man. Solid to good for sure. Boom, boom, boom. There we go. Man, perceived effort on that one. That was, I'm going to give that a hard. I'm going to give that a hard because it's hot, which I like, but it also means the effort is higher and my legs are tired. I honestly, I felt slightly weak. It's 80s American right now. Let's see. They're giving me max heart rate. Get out of here. Laggy with low battery life. I don't really know why people like these things. 8 1/4, average 7:52 pace. I was hoping I would be faster than that, feel faster than that. 134 heart rate. I hit some good strides at the end, and that's where these really started coming alive. But overall, solid. This is solid to good. Better than I expected. I'm impressed. The one thing that I am concerned with, though, coming back here, because they made it softer, they made it maybe bouncier. They definitely made it feel like a broken-in shoe out of the box. This is not going to need any break-in. But the last shoe, the issue was durability, and you can see one run. This is 8 miles. Look, 8 miles, and look at all these lines. It's even worse on this one, more noticeable on the look at all those compression lines from one 8-mile run. So that would be my concern, or is my concern with this. Just how is it going to stand up to higher mileage? Is this thing going to completely go flat within 100 miles, especially if you're a bigger runner? Now, I'm 6'2", 160, and I could even feel towards the end of that run, not when I was doing the strides, but jogging along, just didn't feel the most supportive. So we'll have to see, but in terms of the ride, I'm glad to say this is not a dud, it's not a bust, and it's not a flop. So good job, New Balance. Crazy, man. These are the same exact color as my shorts. I don't know if you can see. Can you see that? It's like an exact match. That's crazy. Urgent red. But there we go. Bang. A New Balance Rebel V5. I've got to say, I am pleasantly surprised. There's a few different directions this could go. My expectations were not high for this. When the Rebel V4 first came out, I liked it. The Rebel V3 was my shoe of the year, by the way, 2 years ago. I loved that thing. Rebel V4, I liked it. I think I liked it more in the beginning because it was a Rebel, and then as other stuff started coming out, and especially toward the end of the year, just completely fell out of the rotation and out of all consideration for me. This is solid. This is good for what it is, and if you think about the questions that I always answer and ask in these first-round reviews, how does it compare to its intended purpose? How does it compare to its competitors in the category? And how does it compare to everything else in the market? I always start with the intended purpose because especially for these shoes like this, you have to think about what it is designed to do. So let us start there. This is designed to be a speed training shoe that is also capable of everyday miles. And if you come into it with that frame, I don't think you're going to be disappointed. Also, it is designed to be actively soft with the comfort. It's the thing with New Balance, right? Fresh foam, fuel cell, they have the 2 foams, but New Balance is always about the softer foams, and with that, you are still getting a very soft platform in here. So coming into that with that frame, a daily shoe that can do speed, a speed shoe that has more versatility than other speed shoes, an actively soft shoe. It's nice for what it is. When we start comparing it to other things, though, that's when I have some questions. But ride of this, soft and bouncy, and if that's what you're looking for, I think you are gonna like it. And take a look at this. I was just doing this. It completely compresses in on itself. This platform is highly flexible. I mean, just look at that. I can completely fold it in on itself. It also has the flexibility this way. So this is a non-plated shoe, not the most stack. And again, you have to think about it versus what it is and what it's trying to do, not versus everything else on the market if you want to enjoy the shoe. So very soft, decent bounce. And if we throw up the run this morning, I wasn't feeling the strongest. I thought I would have some more juice in the legs. Still adapting to the heat. My mileage has been high. I'm going to take a cut week next week, so I didn't have the most motor to get it going, but it felt good and comfortable for most of that run. It's just depending on how I was running too, I was having a different experience with the shoe. So landing more on the midfoot in the rear, especially more to the rear, that's when I really felt the softness of the heel, and it does compress a lot back here. It's a squishy platform. Okay, cool. Oh, nice. No, it's all good. Yeah, I saw them with your mom out there. They were ripping. Yeah. Man, some days it's hard to get the analysis going, right? It's hard to get the run going if our legs are tired, and then I come out here, I'm hungry, I can feel it in my stomach. Oh gosh, I should have had something to eat, but I just rolled straight into it. I got neighbors walking across my grass. She cut across, I think she didn't want to come into the back of the frame, so she's going that way. It was very nice. But now I lost my flow. But compared to the intended purpose, this is designed to be soft, light, and bouncy. Bang, thumbs up. My point is, if you do not like soft and bouncy, if you did not like the Rebel, most people like bouncy, but if you don't like soft, and if you don't like light, and if you don't like a thinner, lower profile shoe, you're not gonna like this. Now, in terms of the stack, it's nowhere near as low to the ground as an Adios 9, but compared to a lot of what I've tested, this still does feel on the lower side. And the Rebel has always been that lower shoe. Again, the flexibility, right? How soft it is, giving you more ground feel and connection. So it still does have that character. It did not completely abandon what made the Rebel a Rebel. And similar to how the Nimbus is always the comfortable, cushioned, long run cruiser, the shoe that can do a lot, give you a lot of value and comfort at that premium daily trainer price point. That's the Nimbus. With this, as long as I've been reviewing it, it's been the lower to the ground, streamlined, fun, bouncy ride. It still has that. So versus its intended purpose, big thumbs up. The concern that I had with the last generation, and that most people had with the last generation, is still here too. The durability, and it's not a rubber thing. The rubber coverage is fine. The grip on this is also fine, might even be improved versus the last version. It's really good regardless. But just how soft this is, you can see, especially on this one here, on the black, yeah, you can see all the break-in lines, which is the same thing as the last version. So that brings me to question number 2. How does this compare to the competitors? $140. A lot of these shoes are now going up in price. Even the Brooks Ghost went up to $150. You have the Novablast, which just went up to $150 yesterday. What else do you have around $140, $150? The Neo Zen is $150. So there's a lot of competitive shoes. This versus all of those. Now it's the family. Mary just came and walked. It's hard. No, I love you guys. See, and now I got myself in trouble. There's no one I can blame for that. Word of advice, never say now it's the family. I just learned that live. This feels lower stack than the other shoes in the category, but what's interesting, and I want to do a head-to-head versus the Evo and the Novablast. What's interesting with this is it does have the lower stack, but at times it felt decently cushioned. It's not like I'm slamming against the ground, but I think it really depends on how you're landing with this, which is true for a lot of the shoes. With the Evo, you have to be landing more up in the midfoot and the forefoot. With the Novablast, depending on if you're landing farther back on the heel or more on the midfoot, you might get more of that choppiness or not. This is definitely the softest out of those, and it also compresses the most. So if you don't like soft, if you found the Novablast too soft, you will definitely find this too soft. This is softer than the Evo. In terms of the speed versus those other shoes, again, this was not a fast run. This was not a speed run or a workout. I was able to get some strides in, and let's throw up the run again here. 4 by 10 seconds. I was getting down to sub 5 minute pace for those strides, which is fine for me. If I'm feeling good, I can be blasting those at right around 4 flat or faster, but it didn't feel like the shoe was slowing me down. It didn't feel like it was too soft and mushy for strides, and that's the benefit of having some nice rubber coverage up on front. It does firm up the shoe and give a nice platform for toeing off and ripping. So decent speed capability. And the other thing is, I also found when I was settling into very briefly for 1 to 2 minutes, nice 6:20, 6:15 pace, so 30 seconds, 20 seconds slower than marathon pace, right in that zone, the nice steady zone 3 running. It felt good. So I think this can contend with the Evos and the Novablast 5s in terms of giving you a fun, fast daily option. So the ride is good. The overarching question mark, though, is similar to the durability long haul. So once you get up to 100 miles, how is it going to be? I'm still questioning how it's going to be past an hour into the run, because I did at times feel like I was getting some foot fatigue with it. It's not the most robust foam. And then also having it in the lower stack application, it's just this two issues compounding together. It's soft, it's low to the ground, and it doesn't stand up the best to the time on feet. And because they've dialed up the PIBA content in this one versus the last generation, it has even more of that squish. So that's the big question mark for me that we will uncover with more testing. Just how is it going to be for longer miles? And the other thing I was thinking about out there as we start to think about how does this compare to all the other shoes on the market, question number 3, for my personal preference, and I've got to separate out what I like and how I train versus my role here, which is to review these shoes for you all and to tell you which ones might be best for you in your training. If I were just training for myself, what I'm doing right now, 100-mile weeks, marathon workouts, long runs, I wouldn't be spending my money on this shoe. This is a shoe that I'm buying to test for the channel, because yes, it's comfortable for what it is, but it's not as comfortable as my favorite daily trainers, the Aeroglides, even the Vomeros. And just look at this run again. I'm going basically an 8 flat pace. Pretty much a recovery run today. I tried to get it going here and there, but this is what the majority of my daily runs look like. I'm not getting out down to 6:15, 6:20 for my everyday miles. Should I be? Probably. And once I cut my mileage, I'm doing an aggressive cut after this week. I'm gonna have 2 lower weeks because we're traveling. And I'm sure I'll be blasting at 6:10 and 6:20 again. But the majority of my training is in this high mileage, fatigued level where I'm just trying to make it through, and I'm either stacking mileage and recovering and doing the best I can to prep for the next hard run, or I'm doing that hard run. And this isn't the shoe that I'm gonna pull personally from my hardest runs. I'm always running the plated shoes. I know a lot. You okay? Oh gosh, neighbor's kid just took a spill. She's okay. Yeah, I'm doing most of my workouts these days in the plated shoes, and maybe I'll throw in a workout here or there, but for me, it's just with where I am right now, every workout is it's like the Super Bowl for me. I want to be getting the most out of myself for every workout, setting myself up for success, getting good sleep the night before, making sure my nutrition is on point, and then using the gear that's going to set me up to have the best chance of hitting those splits. And this isn't going to be the shoe that gives me the best chance to hit those splits on a faster run. It's more of a daily that can go fast, similar to how I'm not going to use the Evo SL or the Novablast 5, right? It's not that this is so much worse than those shoes. It's just this category of shoes. But the type of person who's going to like this, and guess what? Novablast 5 and Evo SL are 2 of the most popular shoes on the market right now. The person that's going to like this is someone that does want something versatile for all their miles, and most people aren't doing 20-mile long runs every weekend. Most people are doing an hour long or maybe 10-mile long run that's taken 90 minutes to 2 hours. And if that's you, I do think a lot of people will like this. The question for me is just, and this is what we have to uncover more testing, what is the value of this versus the Evo and the Novablast? Because today, with all the miles, hundreds of miles I put in the Novablast and the Evo, I like the cushion in those. I like the ride of those more than this. You okay? Yeah. And I shouldn't even say more. I'm not, yeah, that's not right. It's not that the Evo and the Novablast are more enjoyable to run in. It's, again, for me in my training, I've done 20 in the Novablast. I've done multiple long runs in the Evo. I did a 30-mile long run in the Evo and a 20-mile long run in the Evo. I don't think I would do a 30-mile or even a 20-mile long run in this. Not that you can't do it, it's just you have to think about the other options, and is it going to be the most optimal for that? No, it's not. But for someone who's going up to 45 minutes, an hour, throwing in some faster runs with strides, and I was joking about Gabby Thomas out there ripping it on the track, but if you are doing a lot of track workouts and then you want something that's more comfortable to do your distance work in, that's what those guys call it. You do your distance runs, those the 4-mile and 5-mile runs. They do, then this is great. So is it a high mileage shoe? No, but if you're looking for something simple, streamlined, that does have that soft, light, fun ride, this is gonna be a good pick. It's just a question mark around the durability for me. And also, will it be too soft? Because at times I felt like it was just right on that borderline. But looks great. I absolutely love the way this thing looks. Not so much, this colorway is growing on me, but some of the other colorways were fire. So drip factor, about a 95 on this thing. The Urgent Red is growing on me too. It's not giving me as much of the CCP vibes anymore. It is a little USSR propaganda-ish, but overall solid shoe. And made in Vietnam. That's how you know it's quality right there. That's also how you know it's about to be $150 before September. But Rebel V5, I could give this a thumbs up. Said it was a 6 out of 10 out there. I'll upgrade it to a 7 out of 10. I want to test it with some faster runs and do some comparisons. But I think most people, if you've had your eye on this and you want light, soft, fun, bouncy, not the most stacked, but something easy to run in, you're not going to be disappointed. It's just a question mark around if you're bigger than I am, might feel too soft and not protective for you if you're used to running higher stack shoes, or if you just don't like these softer platforms. So there you go, Rebel V5. More to come soon. Oh, last thing I was gonna say, we got the merch dropping Friday. So if you like what we do on the channel, if you like me buying all these shoes, if you like what Barrett and Grant have been chefing up on the Instagram, make sure to pick something up. And I don't have a Patreon because I don't like the idea of just asking people to give me money. I want to be providing good products. Like, this video is a product. You watch it and I get paid the ad revenue through YouTube. And similarly, the app is a product. And these are products as well, the merch that we're selling. And I want to make the coolest, most swagged out drip for everybody. So if you see something you like, pick it up. It does help support. And these are the things that ensure, hey, we can keep buying these shoes to test. We can keep cranking on the Instagram. We can put more cash in the bank so that we can keep investing in the business. And this is something I've been thinking about a lot recently too. Someone messaged me talking about startup. I work with startups and they were looking to work with me. I said, bro, this is not a startup. This is a family business. You know what startups do? I used to work for startups. Startups burn money. That's literally what they call it. They call it burn. What's your burn rate? I'm not in the business of burning money. Every single dollar I've spent on this business, I've earned it. This is blood, sweat, and mileage. I haven't financed this with any equity, selling any equity. I'm not in the business of just giving up ownership in my company. And I also haven't taken on any debt. I don't know if that will change. Maybe we'll take on some debt to grow the business. Point being, man, it takes a lot of work to get where we've been, and I appreciate everyone who's been supporting it. But if you see something you like, pick it up, supporting the channel and buying from the merch and being part of the app. It all helps make sure that we can be the best gosh dang running community and best gosh dang running media outlet out there. Stay independent, not be influenced by the brands, say what we want, test what we want, etc. I don't work for the brands, I work for you. That's why I bought this. I bought it because people wanted me to test it. I didn't buy it for myself. So that's the Supwell way. That's where we are right now. I appreciate everyone who's been supporting, and I'll be back tomorrow with another video. New Balance shoes, Urgent Red, running to the money, Urgent Bread. This is a great summer colorway too. Man, this is just clean. Look at that. Woo! With the shorts and everything. It literally is exact match. Yeah, this is a banger colorway. It's growing on me. I don't normally like the monochromatic bright colors, but this is a good one. I could tell this is gonna be a classic. I think a lot of people are gonna be wearing these this summer. There's no way this reaches Evo levels of hype, but in terms of drip, it's up there. It's a movie.